Hi guys, so I was lucky enough to get a GT Sport beta code. So here it is running on the standard PlayStation 4. Now for the first video I thought I would check out one of the newly announced tracks. This is the Blue Moon Bay Speedway, which is somewhat of an oval track. You can see the track configuration on the top right of the screen. Now I'm driving the Peugeot Vision Gt car, which doesn't have a cockpit view. So I'm going to be taking the action here from the bonnet cam. So this is a Group 3 car, which is basically the equivalent of a GT3 car and one of the 3 categories you'll find in GT Sports. So this is basically a qualifying session, as currently there is no way of getting onto a track just to put in some laps. So you only got access to the sport mode, which is the online mode. So right now, just taking part in the qualifying session on my own. So it's all about getting used to the car, getting used to the track, knowing what gears you've got to be in, when to use your brakes. As you can see, the traction control down the right of the screen is on 2 out of 5. And I believe I do lower that down to 1 after a few laps. So I'm just getting used to the car, seeing what it's capable of, seeing what it likes, what it doesn't like. And it's all about shaving off those temps, isn't it? So you're going to be putting in many laps. Regardless of your skill level, if you're a beginner, or an alien, it's all about putting those laps in, getting those temps off, and just getting a more and more faster qualifying time there. As you can see, I go slightly quicker. Purple time on the right displays your quickest times. As you can see, I'm coming up to the end of the second lap now, and looking to improve on these times. So there we go, second lap, just a tenth or so quicker. So that's what it's all about eking out as much time as you possibly can. And I've actually switched the traction control now down to 1, as you can see on the right of the screen. So just practicing with different setups on the fly, and different braking points, different gearing, and such forth. So visually, it's a beta, so it's not finished, of course. You have to bear that in mind. But you will notice some pop-up, actually. You do notice some trees pop up in the distance on the track side. So if you have a look to the left, I'm not sure if it's now, I think it's the next turn, you'll see trees on the left of the track, and you do see they actually pop into view, which is a little bit surprising. But overall, visually, it looks okay. Probably not as good as it looked in the screenshots, but as I say, this is a beta, and it could look a fair amount better in the final version. We'll just have to wait and see. You can see those trees there popping in. There you go. So it was a pretty, a surprise to see that, even at beta stage. I did not expect to see pop-up trees, but there you go. So visually, some nice sunlight effects, some nice shiny effects on the bonnet and on the screen. Sort of very subtle lens flare effect, but it's very well done. You can see plenty of crowds or people in the stands, but I can't hear those people, so it was a surprise and omission. And you'll see little bits of shadow pop in and stuff on the trackside details on the stands. So it is a little bit rough at the moment. In terms of handling, it did feel somewhat like a GT game, but perhaps a little bit more livelier, the handling, a little bit less sort of understeery, which I felt Gran Turismo really did sort of suffer with. Generally speaking, I felt that the cars are very safe handling, very understeery, whereas here, even with traction control on, the car, or at least these Group 3 cars, did seem to be a little bit more livelier, so that was good to see. So as I put a number of miles in on the first day of the GT Sport Beta, I did unlock a new car, which is this, the Peugeot Vision Gt Group 3, and as you can see, it does have a cockpit view, so we will be taking the action from this view entirely. So the daily rewards, once you do put in a number of miles, a predetermined amount, you will unlock some goodies, in this case a car. And compared to the Peugeot Vision Gt car, I previously driven this Toyota GT car, felt very different. So I do take the corners at different gears, and it does have a very different feel to it, which was surprising actually to see, because they are both very similar powered cars, or at least with the balance of power implemented, which gives cars more weight, less weight, more power, less power, just to equalise all the cars in terms of performance. So even you know, in respect to that, I was surprised just how differently cars actually felt. So that's good to see. So once again on the Blue Moon Bay Speedway oval, or oval-ish track, and just sort of learning my way around. So for this car, I kept the traction control on number 3, which you can see on the right of the screen there. And again, like I said, you know, just different gears. So already you see the first lap's gone purple. So already I'm faster in this car than what I was in the Peugeot GT car. So, and again, look at that, 8/10 quicker. So it becomes apparent straight away that this car is more in line with my driving style, more suited to my driving style. So this will be the car that I use to participate in the race, should I actually make the race, because they are pretty tight on the time limits. There is a 3-hour window for the races, I believe. So although I'm not entirely sure at this moment if every race is has that 3-hour window, because there are actually 3 races, so perhaps each race has a 1-hour window to compete in. But we'll see as I put more time in, because at the moment doing this commentary I haven't taken part in a race, so we'll just have to see how that pans out. So again, second lap, about a second quicker than my first, and I'll be looking to take time off pretty much every lap ideally, but it's not always going to be the case, of course. So coming up to the end of the third lap, and there you go, so 2/10 quicker. So that's good to see. You know, every new lap you put in, it's nice to see the purple come up on the lap times on the right. Just goes to show you that you have put in a new personal best. And as I said before, just, you know, regardless of your skill level, it's all about racing with yourself, really, competing against yourself. You are your biggest sort of competitor, as it were, and you know, you just have to put the laps in, really. So it's probably not a game for everyone. You know, it doesn't have a traditional GT mode as we understand it, GT Sports. So it is very much focusing on the esports, you know, the GT Sport mode, which is the only mode available in this beta. Unfortunately, there's no arcade mode, there's no, you know, etiquette events or any PSVR mode, unfortunately. But we will test that out, of course, when the game launches sometime this year. And as you can see, my fourth lap now is taken off a considerable amount of time there, 7/10 quicker than the third lap. So it's good to see. So I've already taken off almost 2 seconds in just 4 laps. So, you know, you can get some pretty big gains early on, and then of course you get these sort of ever diminishing returns as you put in more and more laps, as you sort of go for half a tenth here and there, you know. So it does get pretty stressful as you try to take off every single piece of, every scrap of time you can. But as I said earlier, you know, it did feel pretty much like Gran Turismo, albeit a little bit more livelier. You know, a little bit more. Was I hit the rev limiter there? So a little bit more nuance to handling. You know, there is more depth to it, certainly. You know, I did find that out pretty quickly. But it, you know, those that have been playing Gran Turismo for a number of years will be pretty much at home here. Just that there is an extra level of depth, which we did expect to see. So that's good. In terms of comparing it to a Assetto Corsa, well, I just have to put more time in. You know, I certainly can't gather that from an oval-ish track. You know, I don't race ovals, so it really is probably the worst track for me to make an informed judgment on the handling in general compared to, say, Assetto Corsa. So again, I've gone quicker. I've taken off 8/10, so massive gains as we compete now in the 7th lap. And I believe this is the final lap, actually. So again, we're looking to try and make a purple time. Of course, you do get these splits along the way, so you know roughly where you're heading. So you know if you're in front or behind. You can see there, so I'm slightly behind, 8.5 hundredths of a second. And coming across the finish line then. So there we go, a 44.2, so again about a tenth quicker, so it's all good. So it looks like I'm doing another lap then, so we're just going to hold on for this lap. And as you can see, from the first lap to the 7th lap, I've managed to squeeze about, what's that, about 2.9 seconds off in just 7 laps, so it just goes to show how much you can gain once you put the time in. And you can say, oh, so they go on 4 attempts down, so it's all gone a bit wrong this lap. But we're going to leave it there for some GT Sports closed beta gameplay, showing off the Blue Moon Bay Speedway in a couple of the Vision GT cars. So of course we're going to have lots more gameplay to come on the channel very soon. But that's it for now. Thanks for watching.